I'm Suzanne Black with C3 Results Group and Dental Boot Camp. Here we are, it's October, I'm in San Diego, California, and we just wrapped up our Being a 10 in 2010 team retreat. It was fabulous. We spent time in the classroom, time on the beach, time in the restaurants. It was wonderful. And one of the things that we did during the retreat was we began planning 2011. So we did a powerful wrap-up to 2010 and plan for 2011. Now, I'm just getting ready to head to the airport, but I had to let you know some of the things that we did that were particularly powerful for people as they begin to plan their year. So, a couple of things to do this process, to start. First of all, we've developed a planning guide that I'm happy for you to have complimentary. And in fact, if you go back to the email, you'll be able to download it for free. Or you can get it from our website. Or you can just call us at 800-710-7273. In the planning guide is all the information you need to begin to plan your year. But let me just give you 5 tips to begin with, okay? The first thing is to assess 2010. How did you do? What was your production by provider? Hourly, monthly, daily, each of those. Look at that. See what it was. Get down to the gnat's eyelash about it. Second, what was your collections? Was it 98%? Did you collect 98% of all the production that you did in 2010? Did you collect 45 to 55% over the counter in 2010? How's your accounts receivable? Did you is your accounts receivable less than 1 month's production? If it's not, look at your 60 and 90 day accounts receivable. Is it 15% or is it really high? You know, when it gets really high, it's very hard to collect, so you want to keep that down. So that's the beginning of taking stock. The third area is to look at your new patients. How many new patients have you seen so far in 2010? What were the sources of those new patients? Where did they come from? Were they from the yellow pages, the website, some search engine optimization opportunities that you took? And then what patients did it generate? And what did those patients do in your practice? What was their productivity? Then you can begin to determine a return on your investment for each new patient. All of that's going to inform your planning for 2011. Now, the next thing is to get a calendar for 2011. I like those write-on ones that I can erase, and then determine your work days for 2011 by month. Mark off the holidays, figure out with your team when your vacations are going to be, and then count your days. Now, what we found is that in the first quarter, there's about 5 more days in the whole quarter than there are in any other quarter. And in the last quarter, the fourth quarter, which is obviously October, November, and December, there are less days. So take that into account and look and see what you can do to maximize your performance in the first quarter to start your year off powerfully and also to end your year strong. Now, so by doing this analysis early, you're going to end 2010, this fourth quarter, really well, and then you're going to be ready for and ready to come out of the chute strong in 2011. Okay, now you've assessed 2010. You know your productivity, your collections, and your new patients. That's a great place to start. Now get a calendar. I like those write-on kind that you can wipe off and change, and count your days worked in 2011 and write it at the top of each month of the calendar. And then look at your quarterly days that you're going to be working in 2011. Most people find that they work the most days in the first quarter, which really is great because then you can start your first quarter off really strong. Second is the middle 2 quarters are usually the same, and then the last quarter is usually less days because of the holidays. So you want to take that into account as you do your planning. Then after you figured out how many days per month you're going to be working and how many days each provider is working, you want to look and see, do you want to grow this year 5%, 10%, or 15%? Get your Excel spreadsheet out, do some calculations, and figure out sort of what's a good fit for you and your team given where you are right now. And I always like to have what I call a minimum acceptable goal, and then I like to have a stretch goal. My minimum acceptable goal is usually somewhere between 5 and 10% depending upon the practice, lower in some cases, higher in others. And my stretch goal is usually between 10 and 15%, maybe a little higher. Some people are coming off a pretty poor 2009. They had a pretty good 2010 that was back to their 08 levels. And now we want to go into 2011 strong. So do your calculations and figure out what your goals could be. And then if you want to grow, let me share with you, there's really 3 ways you can grow. You have to increase your new patients. You have to increase the number of patients you're going to be presenting treatment to and treating. That's one way. The second way, which is my favorite actually, is to increase your case acceptance. See the same number of patients, but do provide more care and more treatment to those patients, and that will help you grow your practice by 5 to 15%. The third area is to introduce new services. Maybe you want to introduce Invisalign this year. Maybe you want to introduce the laser. Maybe you want to introduce sedation dentistry. You have time, if you want to introduce new services, to use this last quarter and the bit of the beginning of next to do your planning, to get some education, to train your team, to be ready to grow in 2011. So don't start in January, start right now. So really those are the 5 steps. Assess your performance in 2010 by looking at your production, your collection, and your new patients. Calendar 2011, look at what growth you want and how you're going to make that growth happen. And I guess then the last piece is, if you need to train your team, what training do they need? Do they need clinical training or do they need communication training? Obviously we'd love for you to come to us for communication training, but there's lots out there. Just make sure you get some if you need it. That's the case acceptance is the key indicator in a practice, and it's the key way when you provide training to create growth without any other marketing. So that's a key for you. The second thing is, it's time maybe to look at your marketing for 2011. We won't go into that in this video, but you'll see another one from us soon on how to really assess your marketing, the results of that marketing, and begin to plan your branding and marketing for 2011. So I guess that's it. It's time for us to go catch our plane. We had such a great time in beautiful San Diego, heading back to Austin, and I want you all to have a fabulous weekend and a great week, and we'll see you around the campfire.